Welcome to The Power of a Father's Blessing, a podcast about faith, fatherhood, and finding hope. Today's guest is Jon Bell, a dynamic speaker and entertainer who spent the last 12 years inspiring audiences through beatboxing, rapping, dancing, and comedy. Jon is a husband, father, and a pastor at the Jesus Center in Waxahachie, Texas. And now, here's our host, Michael Nolan.
Jon Bell, thanks for being with me today.
Pleasure.
Hey man, tell us what's going on in the world of Jon Bell. What's happening in your life right now?
Oh man, I don't know if we got time. Things are going good. Lots of transition for me. We're, selling our house, renting our house out, building a house. Our church just changed names, so that's been going pretty cool.
Oh no. Name change.
Yeah. All the people over 60 definitely worried.
What's the name of the church now?
So we went from Covenant Life to now we're known as Jesus Center.
Okay.
And a lot of that actually just stemmed from several things. I think the church nowadays kind of has the wrong view of what church is.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like a family of faith, it's become like a business for so many people. So I just really wanted to, our church doesn't have membership per se.
Yeah.
So just a place where you can come and you're going to get Christ and then equipped and trained. So that's been exciting. It's been about 2 months so far.
Yeah. What about family? What's going on there?
Family's good, man. 13-year-old daughter, 4-year-old daughter. My boys are 10 and 8. So I will say 13-year-old daughter's been difficult.
Yeah.
They're stepping into womanhood. So you're like, who are you?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Why are you crying for no reason?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
He's getting them prepared.
Yeah.
That's great, man. What about ministry outside of the church?
Ministry outside of the church, of course, build glass behind the walls, and some other little things speaking here or there. But win the lost, make disciples, man.
And what do you love most about going and being a platform guest with Build Glass Behind the Walls?
One of my favorite things is just watching people. When you talk about spirits, right? When you talk about someone sitting in a spirit of anger or anxiety or worry, and you just see it on somebody. So watching someone go from 8 a.m. in the morning with like a super angry, bitter to after they get in their huddles and just watching the night-day difference is probably my favorite thing.
Yeah. Man, watching you on the yard, honestly, brother, with the men, like you said, that they're stone-faced at first. Some of them are like, why am I even out here? And then by the time you're done, they're laughing. Their walls have dropped, and you've earned their respect and their trust. And then you're like, hey, man, I want to get somebody with you that can give you the only direction that you need to be taken in life. And because everything you do out there that God's given you that talent, they say, yeah, man, I'll do this for Jon. And then they huddle up and hear the most important message they're ever going to hear in their life. And God's using you in a great way. I'm so thankful for you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Well, hey, listen, our podcast is called Power of a Father's Blessing. And that's, Bill preached a message, wrote a book, and he lost his father at a young age. And he just really talked about the impact that had and on his life. And man, our fathers, whether they were great fathers or not there, or they were there and didn't do that great of a job, they had an impact, positive, negative, or otherwise. So, man, I want to dive right in. What was your relationship like with your father?
Yeah, I think it's harder for, kids that have divorced parents, because my parents got divorced when I was 6, and my dad didn't know how to be a dad. And when you lost half your team, so to speak, because they've done studies, right? To have a mom and a dad present is the best scenario for a kid. So them getting divorced at 6 was very hard. He was a military guy in the Air Force. And I think because he didn't know how to be a dad, he would volunteer to go on deployments and stuff. And so I think that was really tough. My mom was very poor, could not afford to have me and my brother because she had my sister, my other brother. So my relationship was very scattered, not really fully connected, but also understood the tiredness, right? Of you work all day and then you just want to sit at home and relax. And the kids are like, dude, let's play catch, And so I guess for mine, it wasn't as all it could have been, right? But later in life, I think God did a work in my dad, and we got to reconnect and have a better relationship later. But of course, you're missing that prime season as a kid. So now the relationship's like man to man. How's life, how's career, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you had a father, but he was in the military with a divorce. So I mean, did you see him that much?
When I take myself back to my kid years, I would say not that much. I mean, the craziest thing for me that happens is like as a grown man, I'd watch movies that had scenes of a dad playing catch with his son.
Yeah.
And like my wife's like, "Are you crying?" Yeah. What? No. What the heck? So I think there was something in there that I felt like maybe I didn't get something that I wanted as a kid. Yeah. So
when you're a teenager, young man, I mean, how did that affect you?
Well, teenage years, I kind of took a hard left turn, and I just didn't care anymore. I was, 16. That's when like you get introduced to stuff, peer pressure, whether it's marijuana or alcohol or something. So, and learn how to dance that year. I was just kind of 16 to 21 for me was just kind of off the rails. Yeah. And so dad wasn't a thing.
So you didn't really have that influence of saying, son, that's not right. That's not a good thing. You need to make a different choice.
No.
Yeah. So I know the reason I ask is, I mean, if I did something wrong, man, I had to face the dad, and it was like, son, that's a bad choice, and sit down and talk to me and do different things, but you didn't have that.
No, I mean, I was a kid, I got spanked.
Yeah.
But I never got the chunk of like, how do you do life, taxes, advice on marriage, advice on managing a home. Never got that.
Yeah.
And I would say that spiritual fathers made up the gap for my biological father and my stepdad.
So as a teenager, did you have what I would call, or what Bill would call, substitute fathers, some people in your life that were trying to give you some good advice and point you in the right direction?
I would say no one like through my whole life, but there was like, a spiritual father for like these 2 years that was kind of there for this subject, or a spiritual father over here for these 3 months in this subject. So kind of scattered, no one like consistent through those, 12 to 18-year-old phase.
So let me ask this then. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to guess. So the father's blessing from Scripture and what Bill would preach was, "You're mine, God gave you to me. I love you and I'm proud of you." Did you hear that from not just your father, but any male figure during that, let's say that 14 to 21 year range that you said, man, kind of went off the rails a little bit?
Well, I mean, not that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm proud of you in some areas that spiritual fathers have said, but I would say not like, love you, I'm proud of you, let's do this kind of thing.
So what changed at 21?
My dad came to Christ.
Yeah.
Fully.
When you were 21 years old, he came.
Well, what was funny is like he thought that, oh, you're 21, dude. Let's get smashed. Let's have a beer. We can connect now.
That's what your dad's saying to you?
I mean, pretty much, yeah. And then it was just like, and then right before I turned 20, well, a little after 22, he gave his life to the Lord and was like, just, old things pass away, things become new. So how you think is new, and so kind of developed that later in life. With him saying, "Hey, I'm proud of you," and things like that. But what's hard is that it doesn't mean as much as it probably could have meant in the growing up and having that at the crucial time. Because now it just feels like a buddy saying, "Hey, man, I'm proud of you." Yeah. Which is, it could be hurtful, but it's the truth. Like I feel like I appreciate the things he says now, but when you're 39 with your own 4 kids, it doesn't hit the same maybe as like in that season.
So when did you get married and start having kids?
23.
Okay.
And then had a first kid at 25.
So shortly after he came to Christ, and that changed a little bit.
We had moved, right? So I came to Christ, moved to Ohio, then I went to Texas, and he's in Washington. So I haven't really got to see him from giving my life to the Lord till now. I mean, I go home every other year and visit, but he's looking through a social media lens. That's pretty much what he has.
So he's in Ohio?
No, he's in Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, Ohio was like this weird 6-month season where I was like, it was a desert. No offense if you live there. It was called Willoughby, Ohio. I thought it sucked, but a lot of people love it too. So I got saved, and I was like, I gotta get out of the city I'm in. So this mentor of mine, who was a spiritual father named Anthony Spitaleri, but it was really just for that season to get out of, like, hey, you're a man of God. It was almost like the loving discipline, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're too good to be doing what you're doing. And so he invited me. And there's actually a crooked church and a crooked pastor. And he was like, hey, I found out this stuff happened, so I'm going to Ohio. And I'm like, well, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, this, all I'm known for here is not good. So he's like, all right. So I lived with this, like, Italian Christian family in Ohio for 6 months in their basement, reading my Bible, working at a party city with no car. telling women, like, don't wear that outfit, it's too small. I mean, it's like Halloween section. It was the worst job of my life, but humility. So I found out who I was in Christ, reading my Bible, and then that season it just didn't work out. So when I was praying, like, God, I need somewhere to go, Texas came out of nowhere, and I moved here right away.
We got to learn. We got to grow.
Got to learn. Got to grow.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
It's a process. It's a process, which it's important about our topic is it's just having a father and having that blessing, having a consistent presence. Really, it means something. And as you said, point well made and well taken, that during the formative years when we're younger, that seems like when it is the most important time. I don't think it ever needs to stop, but as young people, we need to hear and be supported in that way. Well, so that's kind of the relationship with your father and the upbringing, just in a very small nutshell. But how did that impact how you now father your children?
Yeah, the story of the dad who was the alcoholic, right? Like, two sons, one became an alcoholic, one's like never drinks alcohol. So fundamentally, I think you make a decision, and I just said I want to be there for my kids. And I don't blame my dad. I feel like he just didn't know how to be a dad, and I don't as well as what he probably could have been. So now at 22, though, I have a spiritual father now who has been with me since I came to Texas, since 22, so the last 17 years. He's been just a man of God that's helped me in a lot of areas where I could ask the stupid question, right? Of, like, how do I do this? How do I manage a home? How do I, and so because I've had him, it's been like the bond, like we talked about earlier, if the bond was made earlier, then the relationship later, it's harder to form that bond when you're older and you come back into life. But
with your kids,
how? Oh, sorry.
What were some things that it's like, okay, you rather got or didn't get that you're like, man, I'm going to father this way now?
Yeah, I'm thankful that I, gave my life to the Lord and got some information biblically and saw godly men and how they did it, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And I think we take things from everywhere, right? If you see, like, a bad teacher, you're like, okay, nope. Or you see a bad marriage, nope. You see a good marriage, like, give me some of that. But I think fathering is the same way. I'm like, I saw bits and pieces, I'm like, yes, and then bits and pieces, I was like, no. But I think for my own upbringing, it definitely motivated me to become a very present dad who just loves to be there. And I'm loving it. I love this season right now. I love their ages right now. And all four of them are peer pressuring us to have another baby. But I also want to be a dude in a wheelchair where the kid's like, did you bring your dad to graduation or your grandpa to graduation? No, that's my dad. Like, I just don't want to. That's great. So, but I love it. I love this season. I love being present. And I think the past has driven me to be a very present, very active dad.
Did you know that 85% of children who exhibit behavior disorders are from fatherless homes? This points to a deep need for guidance and affirmation that so many children are missing, something that caring mentors and godly men can help restore. If you're interested in learning more about fatherhood, please visit afathersblessing.com. You'll find resources, encouragement, and practical tools to help you be the dad your children need. And now, back to our podcast.
You mentioned seeing different examples. I mean, just tell me about a few of those. I mean, this was so post Party City, post Ohio, post telling people they did their costume. Um, where do you get plugged in to have time with spiritual fathers, and where do you see these examples, both good and bad?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that really struck me was like being present, like
Yeah,
fully present, because as you know, and you already said earlier, so many people don't have a dad or a present dad, and if they did have a dad, he was working and then just was too tired to be present.
yeah,
So I think when I first saw someone be like very active and very present and very supportive of like going to this, going to that, because the other thing I guess that happened too is my dad didn't go to a lot of the things I performed at and did.
yeah,
So, and he probably doesn't know this. He probably watches this and like, dang, I wish I would have went to more things. But
yeah,
I think that kind of hurt too. Like if I had like stuff going on in my life and I
yeah,
save a chair and I'm like,
yeah,
the movie,
yeah,
and then they're not there,
yeah,
and so then I kind of guarded my heart and wouldn't invite people because I was like afraid they wouldn't show up. So it was
yeah,
like a wound that had to heal. But I think so. Watching guys be present was like amazing. I'm like, man, it could be that simple. Just be present, be engaging,
yeah,
have a conversation where it's like there's some respect and you're engaging in what that
yeah,
person believes, even though from a dad view, we know their brain's not fully developed and they're going to say stupid things and they're forming what they need to form. So I think being present was good. Um, Watching one of my spiritual fathers help his son through, just the things of like, how do I invest? How do I set myself up for the future?
yeah,
Like all those things I didn't know how to do, like watching people teach their sons to do that. I'm like,
yeah,
give me some of that. Hey,
yeah,
I'm here.
yeah.
And so people are available.
And now you're ready to pass that on to your kids. And
Oh, for sure.
I've been able to not only go on events with you, but then from the airport go and meet your wife and kids, and they're always just excited that to see you there. But it leads me to a question too, and it's based on what you said. You're often serving the Lord not only in the local church, but also with our ministry, Build Glass Behind the Walls. So you're often pulled away from your wife and your kids on a Friday, Saturday, and so you do have to miss some things. And so how do you when you have to miss them, John? What do you tell your kids, and how do they and your wife and how do they receive it? How do they respond? Because that means that you might miss, and you've missed some things of your kids serving the Lord in ministry.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious as to how you address that.
Yeah. We decided early on from pastoring that we would be intentional to make, God first, then family, then ministry.
Yeah.
So we have what's called our Sabbath day. So we take a day from Sunday at 5 p.m. to Monday at 5 p.m. to get rid of electronics and phones and be present with one another.
Yeah.
Play some Killer Uno, watch a movie together, go on a walk together, spend time together. So because we've established that and guarded that, which is really something we just did in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
it's been so amazing and fruitful. So even if I'm not there on Friday and Saturday, they know like family time's coming, and we stay up late on a Sunday night, and
That's awesome.
yeah. So and they also know and they understand because I have that conversation with them at their level,
Yeah.
like these people need to hear the gospel,
Yeah.
and they have their mom, their kids praying that someone would come in to see your dads. But the funny thing is too, like when you wake your kids up, Dad, where are you going? Well, son, I'm gonna go dance for a bunch of dudes at 8 a.m. in a prison.
That's
And
awesome.
then just their face like, okay, what the heck?
Yeah.
But they understand, and they enjoy hearing the results just as much as the church body does. They're like, whoa, 100
awesome.
guys gave their life to the Lord. So they understand it.
That's awesome.
And my son was like, I can't wait to go to jail with you.
Yeah.
If you're passing by and hear that at the wrong time, you're like, what?
Exactly. Or any of them go follow your footsteps and
Oh, for sure. I call my son JJ, Associate Pastor JJ.
Yeah.
And then Jackson's like, well, what about me? I'm like, Associate Pastor Jackson. So I think they're both want to do that.
Yeah.
No,
I was talking about in the prisons.
I think my son Jackson would probably be
Yeah.
he's the comedian. He's funny, likes to dance. I could see him doing something like that for sure.
It'd be awesome to see father son on the yard. Hey, that's something too, and you said it, but didn't have to say it in full detail. But you're going to, you tell your kids, I'm going to minister, and in most cases, these men and women grew up without a father.
Yeah.
And they've never heard, man, you're mine, I love you, and I'm proud of you, and we're going to go and we're going to share positive, encouraging message. But more than anything, we're going to drop those walls and they're going to get to hear the gospel. And they may never have heard it from an earthly father.
Yeah.
But we're going to take people that are going to deliver the message from the Heavenly Father, and they're going to get that blessing today. So that's a strong message to be able to tell your kids. And they get to hear it, see it, and watch you live it over and over.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. Well, man, in a parting, in a last comment, brother, you're a pastor, you're a friend, you're a ministry colleague. There are going to be men and women listening to this podcast, but speak to the men, speak to the fathers to say, what is the one thing that you would really want to impress upon them about being a biblical father, and what that might mean? Just whatever is on your heart to share.
Yeah, I'd say the first thing that came to my mind is when you talked about Jesus being baptized and the Father saying, well done. He hadn't done anything yet. He hadn't started his public ministry yet. He just got baptized, right? So I think to understand positionally, that's the blessing.
Yeah.
You're my son.
Yeah.
He hadn't done any public ministry. I'm pleased with you.
Yeah.
So I think my kids knowing, like, hey, positionally, because you're my son, like, I love you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be here. And then I thought about this article I read the other day, which basically said, when you reinforce the positive things that your kids do versus hound the negative and stuff, like there was like some kind of 90-something% like monitored positivity or whatever, or like it was more effective than hounding the bad thing. But naturally we always hound the bad thing instead of just encourage, like when you see your son or daughter do something right, and just to encourage it. And I would say the biggest thing for my life is just simple: be present. And then don't let the enemy try to not let you be present because he points out your failures. Like I just read that scripture, a righteous man falls and gets back up. Could you imagine if you just think about walking, like you fall? Yeah. Like, oh, my identity's a bruised knee. I'm just a faller. Like, no one does that. You literally just get back up and like, it's just ridiculous to put your identity wrapped up in falling rather than just like, get back up, dude. Yeah. Get back up and let's go. So I'd say be present and just get back up if you've fallen. And
what a great point, because we often think, how can I teach them if it's something I've struggled with or even am presently struggling? But it's our responsibility as a father to teach, no matter what we're going through, and to raise them in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And that doesn't get negated just because we failed with the same things, So,
oh, my kids too. When I say I don't know, but I'll learn together with you in this area, they love that too, because they're like, man, my dad's not pretending to be perfect. He's like, you know what, I don't really answer, but
that's right.
I'll learn it with you. And then they get so excited, like, whoa, I'm learning it with my dad.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And John was alluding to when Jesus was baptized, and God the Father said, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased. And what a great point that he hadn't even done anything yet, as far as his earthly ministry began. That was the part going, here we go. And but it makes me think of something that Bill used to say, and I'd love your comment to close out our time on this. Bill used to say, when you give the blessing, you give it, you say, you're mine. And even if it's not your son, I'm glad our paths crossed. I love you and I'm proud of you. But if it's your son, if it's your daughter, you say, I'm proud of you. Even if they'd made a mistake, you're still proud. Like you said, by default, you're my child, and God's given me you, and I love you and I'm proud of you. But we often say, well, I love you and I'm proud of you, but you need to get a little better. And Bill used to say, if you add anything to the blessing, you make it a condition, not a blessing. There's no conditions you can add to it. It's just, you're mine, I love you, I'm proud of you. What's your thoughts on that?
My intrusive thought of a joke, because that's the way my brain works, is it's just like, but if you do this, I'll give you $20.
Say I love you, but I'd love you more if you gave.
Be more like your brother. Yeah. Think about James. He probably had it rough. Be more like your brother, James. Yeah. No, I think that it's just that positionally. Like,
Yeah.
I love you, you're my son. And, there's a ton of sermons that you could go orphan versus sonship, right? And talking about what sonship is. And, but I think positionally, and I was even thinking about the blessing and what it means and what it represents. And I always thought about how it's interesting, like even when your daughter, right? Yeah. Like as you've raised daughters, and your daughter says, well, I really want my dad's blessing in this marriage or whatever it is. Yeah. So then I was thinking about that too, of knowing that your father approves and delights in your decisions that you're making. Yeah. I just think there's something in that too. I was just kind of thinking about just this on the way here because I recently did a wedding and I was watching this daddy-daughter dance and I was getting emotional. Yeah. And he gave one of the most powerful speeches I've ever heard. Yeah. And he was just saying that you're with your kids like 90% of the time from 0 to 18 and then 10% spread out the rest of their life. Yeah. So how important it is in those formidable years to make a connection, and then how the kids just desire, man, I want your blessing. Yeah. Because then they get a hit and they're like the first person they look at, Dad, did you see that hit? Yeah. Like even the stupid stuff, right? My son burped really loud last night at the table and he was like, I'm the one he looked at, Dad. I was like, well, the girls are here, but that was awesome. Yeah. So they look at Dad for approval and blessing and I'm proud of you, right? Yeah.
So girls, just totally different. Now, my girls, because the movie Elf is one of our favorite. If one of them belch really loud, they always say, Dad, did you hear that? That's a scene of Buddy the Elf after drinking 2-liter Coca-Cola and he belches for like 30 seconds and said, did you hear that? Like, yeah, everybody did. I want to share a story. You prompted me to think of something, and with girls, it's different. Yeah, they're wanting your blessing, but then there's that moment. I have 2 son-in-laws now, and man, they really are just good, godly men. But they both come to me asking me for my blessing and wanting me to give my daughter's hand to them in marriage. And I really said the same thing with both. And I have a third daughter, and if God so wills it, and a young man comes and asks for my blessing there, I'll say the same thing to him. Yeah. It's really simple. It was like, you want my blessing upon this marriage. You want me to give my daughter away to you. So the first thing you need to understand is what God gave to me and the blessing that she's been to me, that now you're asking me to give it over to you. So I proceeded to tell both of them individually what they were asking me to give away and blessed. And I said, so you got to love her and care for her more than I do, and you'll never outlove her more than he does. And so it was a moment. It's like the future son-in-laws were saying, I want your blessing. And I'm like, well, then you need to understand what it is that I'm going to give away. And it was, you'll have that moment. And
Mr. Nolan, could you put the gun away before I ask this question?
well, I won't say it wasn't handy or anything, John. But
tell me again why you.
Tell me the right things. But that's
like
good,
that.
Brothers. Blessing to have you on here, man.
Absolutely.
Love knowing you. Love serving the Lord with you, and I've witnessed just what you do with your kids, and you're a great father. So
appreciate that.
Praise God.
The Power of a Father's Blessing podcast is brought to you by Bill Glass Behind the Walls. We'd love for you to experience the power of sharing hope firsthand. Come with us behind the walls and be part of something eternal. Visit behindthewalls.com to find an event near you and sign up today.